Hello everybody, and welcome to another video. Today we'll be looking at something important, what happens when orchids fall into serious trouble. What you're seeing right now is an orchid in a state of severe distress, and it requires immediate intervention. The prominent yellowing and the limp, leathery appearance of the leaves are classic signs of a critical problem. Most often, this is the result of advanced root rot caused by overwatering. When the roots are deprived of oxygen in a waterlogged medium, they begin to decay. And once that happens, the roots can no longer absorb moisture, paradoxically causing the plant to become dehydrated and eventually shed its leaves. We're going to start by carefully removing the plant from its old pot. Then we'll move on to removing the substrate. As we peel away the old medium, you can already see the condition of the roots. Most of them are dried, mushy, or discolored, clear signs that they're dead and no longer able to support the plant. Now, using a pair of sterilized shears or scissors, we'll carefully trim away the parts of the root that can no longer provide nutrients for the plant. You'll notice that healthy roots are usually plump, firm, and have a silvery or green appearance, while dead roots are soft, hollow, dark, or even mushy to the touch. These unhealthy roots are like clogged pipes. They block the plant from getting water and air, and if left in place, they can encourage bacteria or fungi to spread. Take your time during this step. Gently separate the living roots from the dead ones, and cut only the sections that are clearly damaged. It's better to remove more of the unhealthy tissue now than to risk it rotting further inside the pot later. Always remember to sterilize your scissors or shears between each cut, either by wiping with alcohol or briefly passing the blade through a flame. This prevents any hidden infection from transferring to the healthier parts of the plant. Think of this process as giving the orchid a fresh start, removing the weight of what no longer serves it, so that the energy can flow back into the roots and leaves that are still alive and strong. Afterward, we'll give the plant a clean wash using a gentle spray of water. This helps rinse away any bits of old substrate, along with bacteria or fungi that might be clinging to the roots. The goal here isn't to blast the plant with pressure, just a soft flow of water, enough to cleanse the roots without causing any further damage. As the water runs over them, you'll notice how the healthy roots plump up and turn a brighter green or silver, showing they're ready to absorb moisture again. Washing also gives us a clearer view, so we can double-check that no dead tissue remains before moving on. Now we're going to prepare our fertilizer. For this recipe, we'll use a single clove of garlic. Start by peeling off the outer skin. Then cut the garlic into small pieces so that it can release its natural compounds more easily. Garlic may seem unusual for plant care, but it's actually packed with sulfur and antibacterial properties, making it a powerful natural booster for orchids. By breaking it into smaller bits, we help the nutrients dissolve into the solution faster, ensuring that the orchid can benefit from it right away. This step is quick, but it lays the foundation for a gentle, organic fertilizer that supports both growth and protection. Once that's done, place all the garlic pieces into a clean container. Next, fill it up with water, enough to fully submerge the garlic. Give it a gentle stir, just to help the compounds mix evenly into the liquid. After that, close the lid tightly and let the mixture sit for about 30 minutes. Now, while we wait for the garlic to release its nutrients, we're going to prepare another ingredient. For this step, we'll be using raw rice. Measure out about 3 teaspoons of rice and place them into a clean container. After that, fill the container with water, enough to cover the rice completely. Stir it gently, just enough to let the starch and minerals begin to seep into the water. Once done, close the lid and let it sit. This simple rice water is rich in vitamins and minerals that help stimulate healthy root growth and give the orchid a natural energy boost. After 30 minutes, it's time to filter out our solutions. We'll start with the garlic mixture first, pouring it carefully through a strainer to separate the liquid from the solid pieces. Next, we'll do the same with the rice water, making sure all the grains are left behind. This step is important because we need a clean, smooth solution, free of any leftover compounds that could clog the roots or cause decay in the pot. What we're left with is 2 clear, nutrient-rich tonics, safe and ready to use for our orchid's care. Now, take the filtered solution and pour it into a container that's big enough for the whole root system to sit in comfortably. Gently place the orchid into the container, making sure the roots are fully submerged. This allows the plant to soak up the nutrients and antibacterial properties we've prepared. Let it sit in the solution for about 20 minutes. During this time, the orchid will slowly absorb what it needs, rehydrating its tissues, strengthening its roots, and building up resistance against harmful bacteria. After 20 minutes, carefully lift the orchid out of the solution. Let any excess liquid drip back into the container before moving forward. Now, give the plant a quick inspection. You'll often notice that the roots look fresher and plumper after soaking. Next, we will apply cinnamon powder to the freshly trimmed areas of the roots. Take a small, clean paintbrush and dip it lightly into the powder. With slow and gentle strokes, carefully brush the cinnamon directly onto every cut surface where we remove dead or decayed roots. Cinnamon isn't just a kitchen spice. In plant care, it works as a natural fungicide and antibacterial agent. By sealing those open cuts, we protect the orchid from harmful bacteria and fungi that could sneak in and cause further rot. It's important to apply just enough to cover the wound, but not too much. A light coating is all the plant needs to form a protective barrier, while still allowing the surrounding healthy roots to breathe and absorb moisture later on. Think of it as putting a natural bandage on the orchid. Now, let's prepare a temporary base for the orchid to grow in. Start by taking a cup with a lid. Here we'll use a simple smoothie cup, which is both practical and eco-friendly. Using a clean tool, carefully poke several small holes around the sides and bottom of the cup. These holes will provide the airflow and drainage that the orchid roots need, helping to prevent rot and allowing the plant to breathe naturally. Once the cup is ready, gently place the orchid inside, positioning it so the roots rest comfortably without being cramped. Finally, close the lid securely. This creates a miniature greenhouse effect, holding in just enough moisture and warmth to encourage the orchid to recover and develop new growth. Now, grab yourself a larger container and pour in just a small amount of water at the bottom. The water should be shallow, only a thin layer. Not enough to cover the cup, but just enough to create a soft, humid environment. Next, gently place the smoothie cup with the orchid inside this larger container. Make sure the cup sits slightly above the water level so that the roots are never in direct contact with standing water. What we're creating here is a simple humidity chamber. As the water evaporates, it increases the moisture in the air around the plant. This helps the roots stay supple and hydrated without the risk of drowning them. You can think of this step as giving the orchid its own little recovery spa. The gentle humidity encourages the plant to push out new root tips and leaves, while also easing the stress it has gone through during trimming. After 4 weeks, you'll begin to notice some drastic changes in your orchid. The plant that once looked weak and fragile now begins to show new signs of life. The leaves may feel firmer to the touch, their color shifting from a pale, tired green to a deeper, healthier shade. This firmness tells us that the orchid is storing water and nutrients more effectively, and that its systems are slowly coming back into balance. If you look closely at the roots, you'll see the most exciting transformations. Old, shriveled roots may have dried and fallen away, but in their place, fresh root tips start to appear. These tips are usually bright green or silvery white, and they grow outward like little fingers searching for food and water. Each new tip is a clear signal that the orchid is not only healing, it is actively building its future. At the crown, where the leaves meet in the center, you might also notice tender new leaves beginning to unfold. Though small at first, these young leaves are proof that the orchid has the strength to invest energy into growth above the surface. Now, let's prepare a new home for our orchid to grow. Start by choosing a pot with clear drainage holes at the bottom. Orchids need excellent airflow and proper drainage because their roots should never sit in soggy conditions. Next, fill in the base of the pot with a layer of pine bark. Pine bark is ideal because it provides structure and aeration, allowing the roots to breathe while still holding just the right amount of moisture. After the first layer is in, gently position your orchid in the center of the pot. Take your time here. The plant should stand steady, with the roots naturally spreading downward into the pot. Once the orchid feels secure, continue filling in the pot with more pine bark. Add the pieces gradually, tapping the pot lightly to let the bark settle between the roots without leaving large gaps. Finally, cover the top layer with moss. The moss helps lock in just enough surface moisture, keeping the environment humid without suffocating the roots. From here on, routine care is very important. Think of this stage as guiding the orchid gently through recovery. The more consistent your care, the stronger it will become. Watering should always be balanced. Check the roots and the top layer of moss before adding water. If they still feel damp, wait a little longer. Orchids prefer a cycle of moisture followed by drying, which keeps the roots active and healthy. Cleaning the leaves is just as important. Use a soft cloth or tissue dipped in clean water or a mild natural solution. Gently wipe away any dust or residue. This not only helps the orchid breathe better, but also keeps pests and fungi from finding a home on the leaves. Light and airflow play a huge role too. Place your orchid in a spot with bright, indirect sunlight, never under harsh direct rays. And there you have it, a full journey of rescuing and repotting your orchid. With the right care, patience, and a little love, even the weakest plant can bounce back stronger than before. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you won't miss future tips. Share this video with fellow orchid lovers too. It might inspire them to save a struggling plant of their own. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, keep growing, keep blooming, and enjoy every moment with your orchids.